When you think of pop music that reshaped the very DNA of the global soundscape, what comes to mind? For millions, it's the sound of four Swedes who took the world by storm. Agneta Fältskog, Björn Ulvaeus, Benny Andersson, and Anni-Frid Lyngstad, known as ABBA, didn't just write catchy songs. They engineered a cultural phenomenon. Their music became a universal language, a sonic bridge carrying joy, heartbreak, and pure euphoria across borders and generations. From humble beginnings to breaking records and then vanishing for 40 years, their journey isn't just about pop history, it's the story of how music was changed forever. To find additional stories and untold timelines of the biggest celebrity moments, don't forget to subscribe to Timelines Unlocked, your front row seat to the drama and history behind the stars. The ABBA story doesn't begin with a sudden explosion, but with the slow convergence of four distinct talents in 1960 Sweden. Björn Ulvaeus was a member of the Hootenanny Singers, a popular folk group, while Benny Andersson was the keyboardist for the Hepstars, Sweden's biggest pop rock band. When they met, their shared passion for songwriting sparked an instant partnership. Meanwhile, Agneta Fältskog was already a successful solo artist, writing and performing her own hits from the age of 17. Anni-Frid Lyngstad, known as Frida, had also built a career as a jazz-oriented singer after winning a national talent contest. The two couples, Björn and Agneta, Benny and Frida, formed a personal and creative bond, but their initial attempts to perform together were clumsy. An early cabaret show under the name Festfolk was a flop, and they struggled to find a cohesive identity. Everything changed in 1974. After a failed attempt the previous year, the group entered the Eurovision Song Contest again, this time with a song called Waterloo. On the stage in Brighton, England, they were an explosion of sound and color. Dressed in dazzling glam rock costumes with silver platform boots, they were a stark contrast to the traditional ballads that dominated Eurovision. Waterloo was a blast of pure energy, a perfect pop song disguised as a rock anthem. When they won, it was more than just a victory. It was a declaration. For the first time, a Swedish act had conquered Europe, shattering the perception that global pop music could only come from the UK or America. ABBA had kicked the door wide open, but breaking the Eurovision curse, where winners often fade into obscurity, was their next challenge. Their immediate follow-up single struggled in some markets, but with the release of SOS and Mamma Mia in 1975, they solidified their stardom. These songs showcased what would become their signature formula, shimmering melodies that had surprisingly melancholic lyrics. Then, in 1976, came Dancing Queen, a song so perfect, so full of unadulterated joy, it became an anthem for generations. Its soaring vocals and lush production captured a feeling of timeless freedom. From the dance clubs of New York to the royal wedding of Sweden's king, Dancing Queen was everywhere. It cemented their status as global superstars and created a wave of ABBA mania, particularly in Australia, where their popularity reached a level of intensity not seen since the Beatles. Behind the glitter and catchy choruses, ABBA was a powerhouse of musical innovation. In their Stockholm studio, Benny and Björn were relentless perfectionists. Inspired by Phil Spector's Wall of Sound, they layered vocals and instruments meticulously, creating a sound that was immense and cinematic. They were early adopters of synthesizers, weaving electronic textures into orchestral arrangements to craft soundscapes that were both futuristic and classic. You can hear this on tracks like Gimme, 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 A Man After Midnight, where the synth riff became one of the most iconic in pop history. Their dedication to studio craft elevated pop music from simple, disposable tunes to complex, sophisticated productions that other artists could only hope to emulate. ABBA didn't just change how music sounded, they changed how it was seen. Their manager, Stig Anderson, was a marketing genius. Long before MTV, he realized the power of visual media. To promote their music in countries they couldn't physically tour, like Australia, they began producing promo clips, what we now call music videos. These clips, directed by Lasse Hallström, often featured the band in their iconic, flamboyant outfits, creating a strong visual identity that was instantly recognizable worldwide. They weren't just selling records, they were selling a brand, an image, and a feeling. This strategy of global marketing through video became a blueprint for the music industry, paving the way for the video-driven pop stars of the 1980s and beyond. At the heart of ABBA's music, however, was a deeply human story. For years, their songs were fueled by the love within the two couples. But as their fame reached its peak, their personal lives began to fracture. The 1979 divorce of Björn and Agnetha marked a turning point. The pain and complexity of their separation poured directly into their songwriting, transforming their music from bright pop to something far more profound. The Winner Takes It All is perhaps the most famous example, a raw, heartbreaking ballad sung by Agnetha about the end of her own marriage, written by her ex-husband. A few years later, Benny and Frida also divorced, a split chronicled in the somber tones of When All Is Said and Done. This willingness to channel real, adult heartbreak into their music gave them a new layer of authenticity and created some of their most timeless work. By the early 1980s, the spark was beginning to fade. Musical tastes were shifting towards new wave and synth pop, and the personal turmoil had taken its toll. Their final studio album, The Visitors, was a dark, introspective work, reflecting the Cold War anxieties of the time and the melancholy within the group. After a few final recordings in 1982, the members of ABBA quietly went their separate ways. There was no official breakup announcement, no farewell tour. They simply stopped. For decades, they resisted astronomical offers to reunite, a decision that paradoxically helped cement their legacy. By not chasing a comeback, they preserved the magic of their original run, leaving their legend perfectly intact. But the world wasn't done with ABBA. The early 1990s saw a massive revival. The compilation album ABBA Gold, released in 1992, became a colossal success, selling over 30 million copies and introducing their music to a new generation. This renaissance culminated in Mamma Mia, the jukebox musical that premiered in 1999. By weaving ABBA's greatest hits into a joyful, feel-good story, the show became a global phenomenon, running for decades on stages around the world and spawning 2 blockbuster films. ABBA's music was no longer nostalgia. It was a living, breathing part of contemporary culture, beloved by people who weren't even alive during their heyday. Then, in 2021, the impossible happened. After nearly 40 years of silence, ABBA returned. They released a brand new album, Voyage, which instantly topped charts worldwide, proving their songwriting magic was still potent. But the album was only part of the surprise. They also announced ABBA Voyage, a revolutionary concert experience in London. In a purpose-built arena, digital avatars, perfect recreations of the band in their 1970s prime, created with cutting-edge motion capture technology, performed their hits with a live band. It was a breathtaking fusion of nostalgia and futurism, a final, groundbreaking act from a group that had always been ahead of its time. Once again, ABBA was redefining what was possible in music. So, how did ABBA change music? They democratized pop, proving that world-conquering hits could come from anywhere. They elevated studio production to an art form, creating a sonic template that continues to influence producers today. They pioneered the music video as a marketing tool, shaping the visual language of pop for decades. Most importantly, they infused pop music with a profound emotional honesty, writing about love, joy, and devastating heartbreak with a sincerity that has never faded. They created a catalog of songs that are both perfectly crafted and deeply human. Their story is a masterclass in evolution, innovation, and enduring artistry. ABBA's music is more than just a collection of hits. It's the soundtrack to countless lives, a source of universal comfort and joy that continues to echo on dance floors, in movie theaters, and in our hearts. Which ABBA song tells a part of your story? Let us know your favorite in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through their incredible timeline, please give this video a like and subscribe to Timelines Unlocked for more stories behind the icons who defined our world.